Could the Chicago Bears pull off a blockbuster trade? We're going to talk about three players in particular as some holdouts are happening at mandatory minicamps. I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. Most NFL teams' mandatory minicamps are taking place this week. Obviously, the Bears were last week, and there's some notable absences across the league, and even a few players that did show up who are only there to avoid fines. And I just wonder if, things continue to go south, if things don't improve with those players on those certain teams. Could the Bears jump in and make a splash between now and week one? We're going to do today's show Smokin' Jay style as we look at these three blockbuster trade targets. Trey Hendrickson, could he be a realistic option? I'm going to go 2 Smokin' Jays. People are talking, and again, it's all the way from 0 Smokin' Jays up to 4, where 4 is like it's guaranteed. 2, I'm not saying it's 50-50, but I do think there's at least a real scenario where this one happens, because when you just first look at Cincinnati's side, they don't seem that motivated to pay him what market value suggests. And when you say market value, I think sometimes people are like, oh, you mean reset the market? No, I'm not saying reset the market. I would not give Trey Hendrickson Myles Garrett money. I'd be comfortable in the low to mid-30s on a 3-year type of extension. If he wants closer to 40, I would do like a 1 or 2 year, right? Like if he wants 2 for 75, 37.5 per year, I'd probably do that. If it's a 3-year deal, it'd probably be 34, 35 or less. But it's going to be north of 30, and it should be north of 30 because he's been the sack king for the last couple of years. I thought this breakdown from Spotrac was a pretty good mark, and I think I've thrown this number out there before. He says, or they project 3 years, $100 million for Trey Hendrickson. That includes $32 million this year, which would double what he's currently set to make at $16 million, and then 59 practically guaranteed through 2026, and then probably just a little in 2027, but you could get out of that deal in the 3rd year. He said, for reference, Danielle Hunter's renegotiation in Houston pays him 32 this year and then 55 through 2026. And I like that he mentioned Danielle Hunter because I've made that kind of benchmark myself. Like if Danielle Hunter got almost $36 million on an additional 1 year and a little pay raise this year, Trey Hendrickson absolutely has that right. But that's a shorter window, right? Like Danielle's just under contract through next year. So I think if you go 3 years, then it probably, like Spotrac is saying, comes in that 33 per year range. He gets a little bit more on the guaranteed, 59 versus 55. I think that's perfectly reasonable for all parties involved. I would do that in a heartbeat. In fact, I'd be comfortable making the guarantees more like, if it's 3 for 100, 70, 75 guaranteed. I think I would do that for Trey Hendrickson, and you just front load some of the guarantees this year if you're able to give out a signing bonus to keep the cap at low, which hopefully the Bears would be willing to do in this scenario. We'd have to wait and see how that all played out. But listen, this guy is the premier pass rusher in the NFL currently. He's 30. It's not like he's 34. He's not 26. If he was, he'd probably get Myles Garrett money. So I do think there's a balance to play. But I think $32, $33 million per year on a 3-year type of deal, I think is perfectly reasonable for what he brings to the table. He's arguably the best pass rusher in the league. He's improved as a run defender. He's not great, but he's average to above average in that area. He's gotten better over the course of his career. And, if you get 33, that's right below Nick Bosa. I think that's fair. I don't think he's as good as Nick Bosa, but I think he's better than Josh Hines-Allen. He's definitely better than Brian Burns. T.J. Watt, who we'll talk about in a bit, he's going to get a pay raise. I don't think he's as good as him, but he could approach Myles Garrett money. All the guys below, including the Bears' own Montez Sweat, Trey Hendrickson, better player, I think coming in as the 5th highest paid edge rusher, I think would be pretty fair for any team. But I think also fair for Hendrickson, like, hey, we get it. You're probably the best, if not one of the best pass rushers, but you're 30. You're not as dominant in all facets of the game of a Myles Garrett. $33 million per year, just below Nick Bosa. That feels fair. That feels like a reasonable deal. Give him good guarantees and call it a day. So if I'm the Bears, I'm still interested here. I think that edge position is still one that stands out where, especially if you did suffer a Montez Sweat injury, you're not feeling great about that group. You don't have a ton of depth. Your number 2 guy who you gave decent money to, Dio Adengbo, you're projecting in a lot of ways for him to kind of elevate and take another step forward. I'm not saying the Bears shouldn't give him opportunities. I'm just saying if you can get Trey Hendrickson, you feel good about this window right now of opportunity to go make a push. 3-year extension kind of lines up with a lot of the contracts you currently have. Go for it. Go take a swing and try to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. Are you in on a Trey Hendrickson trade? Type I for in or O for out. I'm in. I don't think you'll have to give a first-round pick. I think you're probably looking at a second or a third plus a day 3 pick. That's probably what you do. Do one of the picks next year, the other pick the year after that in the draft. I think I would be willing to do that. Okay, TJ Watt. Could he be an option? Fake news. This one's not going to happen for a lot of different reasons that you could point to. Ian Rappaport had the note that he is seeking a new contract and is not in attendance at mandatory minicamp. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have TJ Watt on the Bears. He's a tremendous player. There's a lot of advanced data that shows when he's on the field for Pittsburgh, like they are a dominant defense, and when he's off, they're actually kind of mediocre, middle of the pack. We saw that down the stretch last year. Everyone pointed to Russell Wilson not playing as well, and that's certainly true, but when TJ wasn't out there, when he was severely limited with his injury, that defense just was not the same. But the Bears are not going to trade for Watt for a couple reasons. One, he's going to cost significantly more in a new contract, I would imagine. I think he could command Myles Garrett money at $40 million per year. Him and Garrett are in the same division. They've been compared forever. Even if you're someone that thinks Garrett's better, he's not so much better that his camp, Watt's camp, couldn't argue that. Like Trey Hendrickson can't really command Myles Garrett money, in my opinion. But TJ Watt can. Number two, a trade would start with the first-round pick, whereas with Hendrickson, I don't think it would. And if it would for Hendrickson, I would pass. I would not do it if it cost a first-round pick. And unlike Trey, who's played with the Saints and now the Bengals, like he kind of feels like a lifer in Pittsburgh. Not saying he wouldn't play somewhere else, but I just think they're going to end up working this out on their end. And they just signed Aaron Rodgers. They're trying to win this year. Even if that's a delusional thought, they're trying to win this year. You don't sign 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers and then trade by far the best player on your team in TJ Watt. You just don't do it. I think they're all in on 2025. They'll give Watt a new deal, and if things go south, they might trade him in a year or two. But right now, he's not going anywhere. They went down this road in 2021, got a deal done before training camp. I would imagine that happens again. Get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey right now at chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. They're only $100. Most of these Nike high-quality jerseys, they're at least $120. This one right now is just $100. Take advantage. Get one today, chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. And then lastly, a player we've talked about a lot recently is James Cook. I'll go one smoking J on this one. I think there's a chance. I don't think we're there yet. Like I think with Hendrickson, I'm not saying it's irreversible, the deal with him in Cincinnati. I mean, he even said it looked like the Myles Garrett thing was irreversible and, money talks. So that could change, but Cincinnati doesn't seem that motivated right now. I do think while Cook is frustrated with Buffalo, for one, he did show up to mandatory minicamp, but he did say, he was asked, why are you here? He says, I like my money. Like, he didn't want to get fined. So I don't think that was very much of a, like, oh, hey, like, no worries. Like, I'll just play on this contract. Then it was more of like, I don't want to get fined $100,000 by missing 3 days. So he's just going to show up and kind of probably do stuff off to the side. But I think more so than that, he's 25 years old. He's a big part of the Bills' offense. I'd be surprised if it got to a point where Buffalo just cuts him loose. And look, there seems to be a debate. I know people have been DMing me, you're overvaluing James Cook. I've never said he's Saquon Barkley. I don't think he's Christian McCaffrey when healthy. I like Derrick Henry more. I think he can impose his will on an opposing team more than James Cook can. But James Cook is easily, in my opinion, a top 10 running back. Why? Because he can do it all. He's a good runner. He can run outside zone. He can run between the tackles. And he's a really effective pass catcher, which is why he's been 10th in the NFL among skilled players in all-purpose yards. And I'm sorry, like, he's making $5 million, and Aaron Jones, who's on the back nine of his career, is making $10 million. I'd be pretty pissed too. Like, he's better than current Alvin Kamara in my point, which is why, to me, it kind of starts with the Jonathan Taylor money. Like, that's the absolute floor, but the cap has gone up. Even if you want to say, I like Taylor more, He got paid 2 years ago. He's probably going to get $15 million per year, and that's probably what he would get on the open market. And I just look at this situation, as much as the Bears have invested in Caleb, and I'm not going to sit here and act like they haven't. They got Ben Johnson. They rebuilt the interior of the offensive line. They brought in Ozzie Trapillo to throw into that left tackle competition. They add Luther Burden and Colston Loveland, who haven't practiced, but they brought those guys in too. I would just hate if we got to like week 6 and we're like, God, this running back room is just holding this team back. Like you're just leaving opportunities on the table. And look, I've said it. I think you can get by with this group. I think Swift will be more effective in this offense, but I've never been blown away by Roschon Johnson. I like Kyle Monangai, but he is a 7th-round rookie like you're projecting there. I think James Cook would significantly elevate this offense. Even if he's just the 12th best running back in the league, which I think he's better. I think he's probably somewhere between 5 and 8 when you add it all up. I think he would leave a big impact here. And it would be very difficult to defend this team if Caleb Williams just takes a solid step forward. So I'm very interested. It's not James Cook or bust. There's other guys out there, which we've discussed. They did a running back trade targets video that you guys can go check out on the channel as well. So be sure to subscribe and do so. But I just think that there's missed opportunities, a potential missed opportunity for this team in this offense if they don't add another piece to that running back room. All right, pick one to trade for. If you could only get one player, who would you rather get? Type TH for Trey Hendrickson, JC for James Cook. As much as this year is about Caleb in the offense, I still would go Hendrickson because I think you've done enough offensively where if it's big-time edge or big-time running back, I will go big-time edge. But I would certainly be happy with either of these players. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Chicago Bears Now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're dropping daily content. Just because the Bears are off for the summer doesn't mean we are. We are loading up the chamber every single day, so have those noties turned on as well. We'll see you soon. Bear down.